Booyaka, booyaka. I bring it straight to ya. What's going on, everybody? My name's CJ. We're back again. It's free entry Friday here on PrizePicks. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. I don't know what else you need to see, what else you need to hear. I'm the only guy around that's covering PrizePicks content that's willing to sit down here on YouTube for over an hour and take all your requests and research the player props for you. Okay, hit the like button if you're down for that. Subscribe, make sure notifications are turned on. I go live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern time, doing this very thing, going through the NBA player props of the day. We're talking points, assists, rebounds, PRA, three-point makes, free throw makes, blocks and steals, all of the above. We're going to be covering it all. So make sure you're subscribed, make sure notifications are turned on, slap the like button. It's free entry Friday. If you guys don't know what free entry Friday is about, I'm about to give you the knowledge right now. The free entry Friday is basically this. Inside of my Discord, I give away over a dozen free entries every Friday. These free entries are typically 2-pick entries on PrizePicks to win yourself $100. All you have to do to get entered to win, join the Discord, which is free to do. Down in the description of this video, you will find a link to join Discord. Make sure you're joined, and then just stay tuned for the announcements. I will announce when these free entry Friday giveaways will begin. Then you can get your hands on a free pick, 2-pick entry to win yourself $100 over on PrizePicks. So that's how we're doing it. All right. Make sure you join the Discord down in the description below. That's all you got to do. Be in Discord, look out for the announcement, and then enter in to win. All right. Shout out to everybody who's in here this morning. I see a lot of folks talking about what a great night they had last night. I see a lot of Patreon members saying what a good night they had last night. I love to hear the success stories. I'm glad that people are out here winning. I too had myself a good night. I see Ty's in the building. He says, hey, first in, last out, baby. Good morning, chef. Good morning to you, Ty. Moody Clip says, good morning. Put in $150 on a few multiple bets. Walked away with $225 on the night. Let's go, CJ. All right. Love to hear that, Moody. Travis, a.k.a. T-Bone, is in the building. He says, what's up, Patreon gang? Hit that 4-pick power play yesterday. Yes, you did, my friend. Yes, you did. I saw that. Shout out to you. King United says, happy hour today. True that. We must talk about happy hour. Happy hour is simply when PrizePicks lowers their minimum entry amount. So instead of $5, which is the normal minimum, they bring it all the way down to $1 so that anybody can play any sport that they want. It's a good time to experiment, to dabble in some other sports and stuff. At just a $1 minimum, you could 10 times that, turn it into $10 on a 5-pick flex or a 4-pick power play. So yeah, it's definitely happy hour day. You're right. 1 p.m. I think those happy hours start taking place. Drew Brees is in the building. He says, good morning, Patreon gang. What up, CJ? What up to you, Mr. Drew Brees? Everyday Fantasy. Good morning, everybody. Today will indeed be a good day as long as the Gold Gang, he's talking about our Discord, our Patreon group. There's some folks in there that are cloaked in gold. As long as the Gold Gang, gotta say so. And my man Don P., one of the members of the illustrious Gold Gang. Travis Knott's in the building. Good morning to you, everyone. Let's make money today. Love that. Ari's in the building. If you're not betting on Bones Highland yet, you're getting boned. Yeah, I've been slow to adapt and take any Bones Highland props, but he has definitely been balling lately. Gibbs in the building. He hit for a nice little triple up last night. I think he came up like $400. Shout out to you. And the Patreon fam. Hunter's in here. We in here. I hear you. I hear you. Who else we got? Emmanuel's in here. What's up, Emmanuel? Haven't seen you in a while. Thanks for joining us this morning. Rusty Bearings, best part of the day. Let's get to the bread today. Love it. Ronald Screen with the solid what's up as he's here every morning with the what's up, man. Shout out to you, Ronald Green. Trevor's in the building. What up, Trevor? Michael, quick $1,300 profit last night, man. Anytime you hit any type of profit, it's a good night. But when you're talking a 4-figure profit, Michael, that means your pockets are stuffed full. You definitely came up real nice. Good speed. Good to see you in here. back in the building. Tony Ruiz, good morning, CJ. Let's get it today. Good morning back to you, my friend. Days is in here. Shout out to Days. Gibbs already leaving a little super chat message here. He says, let's win some more money today, boys and girls. And girls, there are girls, believe it or not, who play PrizePicks, who watch these live streams, and who are in the Patreon community. So we have to show love to the ladies. Don't forget the ladies, Gib. Don't do them like that. You gotta remember the ladies. Nick's Rashad for Life is in here. Aaron Rodgers, I see you. Adalbert Victor. He's already liking some Jordan Poole points, rebounds, and assists. Rogelio, shout out to you. And Percy, we got Percy in here. We got Blake up in here. I see a little bit of everybody. Tyrone, another one of our Patreon members. I see you. Cody's up in here. Shout out to Cody. All right, gang. Duran, I see you as well. All right, let's go ahead and get down to business here. Go ahead, slap the like button. Let's start this stream off proper. Not a lot of NBA games tonight. The NBA's kind of taking a step back, letting these college boys shine. It's Sweet 16 time. Had some good college basketball games last night. I only played one college basketball entry, did not end up profiting on that one. It was a complete and utter failure, let's just say that. But anyway, on to NBA we go. We got a nice little medium to small size slate. So let's get down to the beeswax. Washington Wizards at Detroit Pistons, 221 points with a 3.5 point spread. The 3.5 points favors the home team in this case, the Detroit Pistons. Kyle Kuzma, game time decision for Washington. Keep an eye out on him. Obviously, he'd be a big, impactful piece of injury news if he's in or out. That would definitely shake things up for the rest of the team. Over on the other side, we've got Livers, I still don't know how to say his name. Smith and Diallo already ruled out for Detroit. So it'll be Cade Cunningham, Corey Joseph, Sadiq Bey, Jeremy Grant, and Isaiah Stewart. Pretty much their most used starting five. So kind of an interesting game there with 221 points and a decent spread. Moving it down here, 7 p.m. tip-off time. We got the Utah Jazz at the Charlotte Hornets. 228.5 points between these two teams. Nice total. 3.5 point spread. Utah is the visiting team. They are favored to win by a few points. Hassan Whiteside, game time decision. Looks like Bogdanovich is going to be out, as is Azubuike. Over on the Charlotte side, we've got Gordon Hayward. He's already been ruled out. So Gordon Hayward still out for Charlotte. They're going to pretty much be rolling out their same starting five that they've been rolling out. But pretty nice game as far as the total and the spread goes. Moving it down to the 7:30 tip-off time of the Golden State Warriors at the Atlanta Hawks. Unfortunately, we will not see Steph Curry versus Trae Young. I always like watching those guys go head-to-head. Kind of similar play styles. Obviously, Trae Young coming out of college had a lot of comparisons to Steph Curry in the way that he played the game. But Trae Young always credited Steve Nash as being one of his favorite players. But anyway, 221 points between these two teams, 2.5 point spread. It looks like a pretty nice total. And the game should stay close and competitive. Andre Iguodala, game time decision. As we talked about, Steph Curry is out. James Wiseman is out. Over on the Atlanta side, John Collins also out for Atlanta. But, I think a lot of people will be looking at some Jordan Poole today. And I'm sure his name will come up. Jordan Poole, when Steph Curry is out, just goes bonkers. I mean, he gets a lot of shot volume. He gets a lot of points. I've already seen somebody mention the PRA on Jordan Poole. I have a feeling Jordan Poole's name's going to come up. 8 p.m. New York Knicks at the Miami Heat. 214 points, 7-point spread. Man, I finally got a chance to look at that Miami Heat video from the other night. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, Eric Spoelstra, Jimmy Butler, and Udonis Haslem. There you go. It took me a second. Eric Spoelstra, Jimmy Butler, Udonis Haslem. If you guys have not watched that video yet, very entertaining, very interesting to see sort of that dynamic between those three players and what happened on the sideline there. I don't know what Jimmy Butler was saying or what he was doing. Didn't watch the game. All I have to go off of is the clip, but apparently Jimmy was flapping them gums. UD had to step up, kind of check Jimmy, let Jimmy know, hey, I'll beat your ass. I think if I read his lips right, it looked like he said multiple times, reiterating, I'll beat your ass, is what it said. It looked like he said to Jimmy Butler. Anyway, Eric Spoelstra was all fired up too. He was getting up in Jimmy Butler's face, throwing clipboards and everything else. They had to be separated. So I don't know. It's not a good time for dissension amongst the ranks, guys. Hopefully Miami pulls it all together. Hopefully it's not a big deal and it doesn't cause a rift amongst teammates, because we're heading into the playoffs and Miami needs to be gelling at this moment, not separating. Anyway, New York Knicks, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson, both game time decisions. We got Nerlens Noel, Cam Reddish, Derrick Rose, Kemba Walker, and that one guy who nobody cares about. He's out too. R.C. Diacono. I think I did a decent job of saying his name. Over on the Miami side, Jimmy Butler, P.J. Tucker, Duncan Robinson, Tyler Herro, and Mr. Martin. A bunch of game time decisions for the Miami Heat. We got Oladipo and Gabe Vincent already ruled out. So lots of injury news that could potentially shake things up on the Miami Heat side of things. You got to stay glued to the injury news. And lucky for you, if you are in the Discord, I've got an NBA news feed already set up. It's pumping in the latest NBA news, so you don't have to look anywhere else. You could just stick right there inside Discord. So again, if you want to join the Discord, link down in the description below. I'm going to be giving away a bunch of 2-pick entries today to win $100 over on PrizePicks. 8 p.m. tip-off between the Dallas Mavericks and the Minnesota Timberwolves. 228.5 points between these two teams. A 3.5-point spread. Bertans, Burke, Pinson, and Tim Hardaway Jr. all out for Dallas. Looks like Luka Doncic is going to be back. Jalen Brunson going to be starting alongside him. Spencer Dinwiddie back to the bench he goes. He'll be the sixth man once again. On the Minnesota side, Karl Anthony Towns, the biggest piece of injury news from this game. Currently a game time decision. If he's out, Naz Reid would likely draw the start, and it would be Dwight Powell versus Naz Reid. Dwight Powell might be in an advantageous spot, we'll say, without Karl Anthony Towns. McDaniels and Wright already ruled out for Minnesota, so pretty nice total on this game at 228.5 with just a 3.5-point spread. And then finally, oh boy, hold on to your seats here, folks. We got the Houston Rockets at the Portland Trail Blazers. Yes, 18-55 Houston. That's their record, 18-55. They travel to Portland to take on the 27-45 Portland Trail Blazers. We got 234.5 points. I think it's the highest total of any of the teams on the board today. 3.5-point spread. So it is a high and tight type of game. High scoring, tight spread. Over on the Houston side, not really anything crazy going on in terms of injuries, but of course Portland, they've got a long list of names here, including Justice Winslow, Josh Hart, and then the names that we've mentioned countless times before: Damian Lillard, Anthony Simons, Eric Bledsoe, Yusuf Nurkic, Nas Little, Joe Ingles. I mean, the list goes on and on. So it'll be Eubanks, Watford, and Chris Dunn. For sure. Chris Dunn just signed another 10-day contract, so he's not going anywhere for at least the next 10 days. He's going to stay on Portland's roster. They're trying to patchwork this thing together and just get through the rest of the season. Land themselves a top draft pick, basically. That's what both of these teams are competing for tonight, is who's going to finish at the bottom. They both want to improve their chances to win one of the top draft picks from this year's upcoming draft class. But despite how ugly this game looks on paper, I mean, the total and the spread looking kind of nice here, kind of nice. I'm just wondering, with these teams probably looking to tank, are they going to play their starters as much? Or are they going to dip into the bench and go deep into the rotations? This is the time of year where teams really start to tank, including my team, the Orlando Magic. We saw it the other night against the Oklahoma City Thunder. We kind of refused to play a lot of our starters in that game. We had some guys that, Lord have mercy, I've never even heard of some of these guys. I think they pulled them up from the G League affiliate or something like that. But you're going to start seeing a lot more of these teams digging deeper and deeper into their bench and playing a lot of these G League guys. You might have some of these two-way players, guys that flex in between the G League and NBA. You might start seeing more of that happening on some of these teams who want to land one of those top draft picks. But yeah, that's the situation tonight, gang. A lot of ugliness there between those two teams. Very high total though, and a pretty competitive spread. So that's the rundown, man. Let's go ahead and talk about some of these player props. Of course, our player prop research is going to be powered by props.cash. We're going to be taking a look at points, assists, rebounds, PRA, some three-point makes, some free throw makes, some blocks and steals, and some fantasy points. If you guys want to look at those too, we could do that. So if you have any points props you want me to take a look at, go ahead. Let's start talking about points. And then we'll run through these, prop by prop here. Points, assists, rebounds, and etc. and so on. But right now, let's talk points. I already see Blake McCook is leaving one in here. He's talking about some Luka Doncic for points. D-Train's also wanting to look at some Luka Doncic points. So we'll talk about it. All right. So cool thing with props.cash is you can pull up whatever prop you want to look at. In this case, we're going to be looking at points. We're going to change the split. We don't want to look at current season. We want to look at the last 10 games, kind of get an idea who's been hitting at the highest hit rates. Or if you're the type of prop player who likes to look for the unders, you could also look at lowest hit rates. But as I always say, life is too short to play the unders, so we're going to be looking for some overs as we typically do. Now, starting things off here, the top of the board, the guys with the highest hit rates. You got Clint Capella, 70%, Tyrese Maxey, 70%, DeAndre Hunter, 70%, Jeremy Grant at 70%. Those are your top four. As far as hit rates go, those are all 70%. From there, you got a lot of guys in the 60% range. Harden, Herter, Plumlee, Dorian Finney-Smith, Luka Doncic, which is the guy we're going to look at first, Jordan Poole, and then from there, it's 50% or worse. So you guys said Luka Doncic. So we're going to take a look at Luka Doncic. Let's do it. He's at 29.5 points, which is a little bit of a discount, right? We've seen Luka at 30.5, 31.5 in previous games. Recently, he's down to 29.5. Yes, I know Brunson's back and Dinwiddie's there, but 29.5, anytime you're getting Luka under 30 points, I think he deserves to be discussed. So we're going to talk about Doncic. If you guys have any other points props you want me to help you research in real time, go ahead and leave those in the chat. I'll take as many points props as I can. We'll do a few points, then we'll switch it up. We'll move on to assists, rebounds, etc. But starting things off with the points here for Luka Doncic, 29.5. You can see what he's been up to in his last 10 games. 60% hit rate. He's gone 6 out of 10. Now you're looking at this little bar right here, which has his averages. 27.9 for the season. That's below where he's at today. 29.4 in the last 10. Below. And 26.4 definitely below. Now against Minnesota, he's played them once. It was March 21st. 4 days ago, he had just 15 points against the T-Wolves. Not very inspiring. Not very encouraging when you see a recent sample size for Luka where he had just 15 points. Let's scroll down and take a look and see why that was. Well, it wasn't because of minutes. He played almost 38 minutes in that game. He shot the ball 17 times, but only 5 of them went in. There you go. There is the problem. 17 field goal attempts. He went 5 for 17, 29% field goal percentage. Not very good. Look at the amount of threes this dude took. He threw up 11 shots from beyond the arc, only made 3 of them. A 27% three-point field goal percentage. So it was an off shooting night. I think it's fair to say that's the situation here. That is the culprit. He just did not shoot the basketball very well. Let's go ahead and take a look at something else here. We could look at the splits. We've been doing that in some of the recent videos. Home splits versus away splits. In this case, he is going to be on the road tonight. But at home, 47% hit rate at 29.5 points. Away, yikes, 27% hit rate on the road. So at home, 47%. On the road, 27%. That's pretty significant. That is a 20% difference in hit rate. He's a much better scorer at home based on what we're looking at here. This season, he scores better at home than he does on the road. So just a little bit of caution there. I want to throw that out there. Now, Minnesota's defense, not very good. 21st in points allowed, 13th in field goal percentage, 24th in three-pointers allowed, 12th in three-point field goal percentage. Dead last, meaning they're giving up the most free throws. So maybe you want to go Luka Doncic for some free throw makes if he's up on the board. And then they rank 15th against opposing shooting guards. So a bit concerning that he's such a bad player when it comes to scoring the basketball on the road this season. Anyway, let's move it forward here. Let's look at the last 15 games. Minnesota T-Wolves, how many points have they been given up to point guards, shooting guards? Luka kind of positionless. He's really almost like a point forward, but we're going to take a look at point guard, shooting guard, and small forward. Minnesota, last 15 games, given up over 26 points to point guards, so that's a pretty healthy number. We look at the shooting guard spot. They're giving up over 22.5 points to shooting guards in the last 15. And just for fun, we'll also look at the small forward position here. We'll cover all of the wing positions, all the perimeter players. 20.7 points allowed to small forward. So he's more point guard, shooting guard. Kind of hard to peg Luka Doncic as just any single, point guard, shooting guard role. But, point guards, they typically do the best against Minnesota. So there you have it. Moving it forward here, we're going to pull up a projection for Luka Doncic and his points. Got him projected for 29.3 points. Listen, he's at 30.5 points on 3 out of 4 sports books that I'm able to reference, which is a point higher than where he's at on PrizePicks today. The one site that has him at 29.5, we are seeing the public bet the over. So they do like the over on Luka Doncic, despite his troubles against Minnesota in their recent game, despite his troubles on the road, despite the projections not really favoring Luka Doncic for an overplay today, the public still taking the over at 29.5. You guys liking the over or under on Luka Doncic based on what I've been able to research here for you? Let me know. Let me know in the chat. What's up, High Flyer? Nice for you to join us. All right, let's take a look at some of these other points that you guys are liking here. Points props, Moody Clips. You got to stay on task. We're talking points props. We'll get to those assists, though, in just a little bit. Blake McCook is talking about some Trae Young. I'm seeing some Donovan Mitchell points. A couple of people mentioning Donovan Mitchell. Let's go ahead and talk about some Donovan Mitchell then. Donovan Mitchell, 26.5 points. Kind of a low number. He's going up against the Charlotte Hornets. We know the Hornets, they're just okay defensively. Just okay, right? Not really a team that we're too afraid of. Let's go take a look here and see how Donovan Mitchell's done at 26.5 points using Props.Cash. If you guys want to check out Props.Cash, by the way, I can get you 25% off of your first month. Just go down to the description of this video, click the link, use code Curry when you're checking out, and you'll save 25% off your first month on Props.Cash. All right, so we're pulling him up here on Props.Cash. He's at 27.5 points by default, but we all know that he's at 26.5 here on PrizePicks, so we must use this handy little feature on Props.Cash where we bump his line down to 26.5. Even when we do that, though, you can see that the hit rates don't really change. He's still at a 50% hit rate. Now, it's almost like a tale of two halves here. You look at March 6th through the 12th, a whole lot of red, but something has changed here. Something has clicked with Donovan Mitchell starting March 14th, running all the way up until March 23rd. He's on a 5-game hit streak here, going over 26.5 points in those games. 29, 37, 36, 30, and 37. He's been in his bag in terms of scoring, averaging 33.8 points per game in his last 5 games. He's taking on Charlotte tonight. Let's take a look at the Hornets. He's played them once. It was back in December 20th to be exact. Had 21 points. Not enough to get the job done there. In that game, he played over 34 minutes, shot the ball 20 times, but here we go again. 7 for 20, kind of like Luka Doncic. Had himself a very bad shooting night. 35% field goal percentage. He attempted 10 threes, made just 2 of them. Just a 20% three-point field goal percentage. So, yeah, Donovan Mitchell needs to have a better shooting night tonight against this Charlotte Hornets team. Do we think he's going to shoot that poorly again? I mean, if he does, that would be rather impressive to shoot that bad in back-to-back games against the Hornets. Now, Mitchell is going to be on the road tonight, so we can look at those splits for you. At home, 26.5 points, a 50% hit rate. Away, meaning on the road, 57% hit rate. So a slightly better hit rate on the road than versus at home. And again, tonight he is on the road and he's visiting Charlotte. He's going to be visiting Charlotte. Now, looking at this Hornets defense, they rank 28th in total points allowed, 19th in field goal percentage, 29th in total threes, 22nd in three-point field goal percentage. So maybe you take a Donovan Mitchell three-point prop. Hornets not doing a very good job this season at guarding the three ball. 18th in total free throws allowed, and 4th against opposing shooting guards, which is what Donovan Mitchell is. So let's jump forward here, look at the last 15 games, go to the shooting guard spot and see how many points that this Hornets team is giving up to opposing shooting guards. It's, not all that much. We actually have to go all the way down to the bottom here. They're giving up just 17.5 points per game to opposing shooting guards, which does not seem to bode well here for Donovan Mitchell over 26.5 points. So either they've been facing some really bad shooting guards over their last 15 games, or they're just really good defensively. Let's also look at the last 7 games, just to see if that average points allowed changes at all. And not really. I mean, they're still one of the toughest teams, giving up just 18.3 points per game to shooting guards in the last 7. So you could see things improved a little bit from last 15 to last 7, but not a significant improvement. So looking like kind of a tough matchup against this Charlotte Hornets squad for Donovan Mitchell. Pulling up a projection, though, I do have him at about 28 projected points. He's listed at 27.5 points on every sports book out there. So at 26.5, we are seeing a point of value, a 1-point discount on PrizePicks versus where he's at on the sports books. But at 27.5, everybody seems to be slapping the under at 27.5. 3 out of 4 sites, odds of -130, -125. So they think Donovan Mitchell's going to stay under 27.5. Do you guys think Mitchell goes over or under based on what I've shown you against this Charlotte Hornets squad? You guys let me know what you're thinking. Good speed. I know you were really on this play. Are you still on this play? Mitchell shot really bad against the Hornets. I don't know if that was good defense or if that was on Mitchell, just having a bad shooting night. But no Bogdanovich. I'm sure that Mitchell will get plenty of opportunities to shoot the basketball. D-Train thought Mitchell looked fired too. Maybe he's changing his tune a little bit after, I showed him what I showed him. I don't know. Looking kind of tough. All right. One of the other guys that you were mentioning was Trae Young going up against Golden State. Of course, no Steph Curry on the other side of this game, as we talked about at the top of the show. So he'll be matched up against this kid, Jordan Poole. We'll talk about both of them, and then we'll move on from points. Trae Young at 27.5 points, taken on Golden State. The Dubs, the Warriors. Let's go ahead and pull them up here on props.cash. 27.5 points over the last 10 games has been a little bit of a struggle here for Trae Young. You could see he's come close in some of these games, finishing with 27 against Milwaukee, 27 against the Clippers, 25 against the Washington Wizards. What's really helping his averages is the fact that he can go off for 47, 46, or 45 like he did against Indiana, Portland, and New York. But those teams are all kind of bad teams. Against some of the tougher opponents out there, he struggled a little bit, let's just say. He's averaging 28.1 for the season, 28.2 in the last 10, 28.4 in the last 5. Now, against Golden State, he's played them once. That was back in November. Ended up with 28 points against the Warriors in that game. So he did cover in the one previous matchup that he had against the Warriors. Now, this season at 27.5 points at home, let's go ahead and take a look at the splits here and see how they shake out. On the road, he's hit this in 45% of his games. At home, 59%. So a 14% higher hit rate at home than on the road. So, splits seem to favor him at home. I think that's safe to say. Moving it down here, looking at the Warriors defense, of course, like I said, they'll be without Curry, so it'll be Poole. I don't know if you consider Poole a tougher matchup for Young than Curry would have been. But anyway, Golden State giving up the ranked fourth in points allowed, meaning they're a tough matchup. Second in field goal percentage, 16th in three-pointers allowed, third in three-point percentage allowed, 23rd in free throws allowed. So maybe you take a free throw prop on Trae Young, and then they rank 4th against opposing point guards. Speaking of point guards, we're going to go take a look and see how many points per game that Golden State's been giving up in their last 15 games to the point guard position. We have to go down just a little ways here. They're at about 25.1 points per game, which kind of puts them in the middle of the pack, but toward the top. So not a very difficult matchup here. Let's look at the last 7 games as well. Golden State still toward the top of the list here in the top 10, giving up over 24 points per game in the last 7 to point guard. So the matchup for Trae Young, not looking very difficult in my opinion. Not looking like a tough one, especially when you factor Curry's out, Poole's in. Anyway, I have Trae Young projected for 29.3 points. That is a lot more than 27.3, nearly 2 points higher. But despite that favorable projection, 27.5 points, we're seeing the public taking the under. 4 different sites, all of them. The public is putting their money down on the under for Trae Young. Now, a lot of you are probably going to be looking at this kid, Jordan Poole, 23.5 points. And I have to admit, when I see 23.5 points for Jordan Poole without Curry, I get a little bit happy inside. I get a little excited here. 23.5 points, totally doable for Jordan Poole because his volume is insane typically without Curry. So let's pull him up here on props.cash. Once we click in, we can look at the last 10 games for Jordan Poole. What we're going to do is take Curry out. And things get very green very quickly. So this is just the last 10 games without Steph Curry. You can see Poole's covered 23.5 points in 7 out of 10 games. So a 70% hit rate. Let's look at the full season view. Okay, still 6 out of 8. Doesn't really change at all there. But yes, without Curry, a 75% hit rate for Poole at just 23.5 points. You can see what he's done here in the last 5 games without Curry. 31, 32, 28, 26, and 30. Like I said, he gets a lot of shot volume. So Jordan Poole looks like he is in a pretty nice spot. Let's go ahead and see what he's done against Atlanta. Now this game was with Curry in. He ended up with 16, which obviously at 23.5 points would not be enough to hit the over. But again, his role is going to be a lot different tonight without Steph Curry manning the backcourt. So yeah, things looking pretty good here for Jordan Poole when you pull Steph Curry off the court. Very nice hit rates at 75%. Now, this Atlanta defense, not very good. 22nd in points allowed, 25th in field goal percentage, 22nd in three-pointers allowed, 26th in three-point field goal percentage, just 5th against free throws, so don't play any free throw props against the Hawks from what it looks like. And then shooting guard defense, they rank 20th. So let's step it up here and take a look at the last 15 games. The Atlanta Hawks, how many points are they giving up to the point guard position? 22.7, pretty close to the 23-point line, where 23.5 point line where he's at over on PrizePicks. If we look at the last 7 games as well, we could take a better look. The Hawks shoot up the list a little bit. They're giving up about 24 points per game to point guards in their last 7 games. So they're not defending as well, not defending point guards when it comes to points as well in the last 7 games versus the last 15. So things looking pretty decent here as far as the matchup for Jordan Poole. He's projected for 23.1 points, pretty close to the 23.5 at 23.5 points on 3 different books here. The public starting to bet the under on Jordan Poole. They don't think he's going to have a good game, I guess, or not a good enough game. They think 23 or less points is in Jordan Poole's future. But I will mention he's as high as 24.5 over on a site like PointsBet, meaning their lines makers must seem to think that Jordan Poole's outcome could be 24 to 25 points in that range. So definitely cross-reference this projection if you want. Keep an eye on these lines as they will change throughout the day. As people are starting to put their money down, you'll see these odds go up and down. But right now he's projected to go under. The betting public's taking him under. So despite what looks like a pretty good matchup and high hit rates without Steph Curry, Jordan Poole, for whatever reason, the public is not on Jordan Poole's points. Are you guys on it, though? That's really the question. Forget the betting public. What about you and me? Are we on the over for Jordan Poole? Let me know, guys, in the chat. Thumbs up if you're taking the over on some Jordan Poole points against this Hawk squad. All right. So now that we have a little bit of information on a few popular point props, some of the ones that you guys are looking at, liking, let's take some assist props. If you guys have any assist props you want me to take a look at, now's the time to start leaving those in the chat. Like I said, I could sit here and look at points props all day long, but I ain't got the time. I ain't got the time to look at all these points props all day long. Limited time. I'm only one man with only so much time. But if you guys have any other questions, there's always the comment section down below, or you can hit me up in Discord. Join Discord down below. If you just got here, I'm giving away a bunch of free entries to win $100 over on PrizePicks today. All you have to do, join the Discord. Again, link down in the description. Hit the enter to win whenever that goes up. So stay tuned for an announcement on those free picks. Wow. Surprisingly, I'm seeing a lot of love for Danilo Gallinari. Danilo Gallinari assists. There's like 1, 2, 3 of you people. At least 3 of you. 4 of you who are now mentioning Danilo Gallinari's assists. He's at 1.5. 1.5. So he needs just 2 dimes to hit the over. You guys are talking about it. So we'll dig into that one in just a moment. But first, let's talk about the guys who are hitting at the highest hit rates. We got Tobias Harris at 2.5. He's at 70%. LaMelo Ball at 6.5, 70%. Miles Bridges at 4.5, 70%. Sadiq Bey at 2.5, 70%. And Donovan Spider Mitchell, 70%. So those are your highest hitting guys in the last 10 games. From there, we got a couple of that are hitting at like 60%, including Dorian Finney-Smith, Jordan Poole, and Trae Young. And then from there, it really starts to get down in the 50, 40% hit range. So don't play any of those guys unless they're in prime matchups. Or if somebody's ruled out, maybe they're going to be stepping into a larger role. That's when you can take a shot on like a 50%, 40% hitting type of player. But in this case, you guys want to talk about Danilo Gallinari, it seems. So we're going to start things off with Gallo. His assists are at just 1.5. So there must be something. There must be something that you're really liking about this prop. Let's see if we can figure out what it is that you like about Gallinari. Okay. It all makes sense now. It all makes sense. Gallinari, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight games. He's gone over 1.5 assists. So he's riding a 6-game hit streak here at 1.5 dimes. And he's not just getting 2. He's not just barely limping over 1.5. I mean, he's covering it with 3, 5, 3, 3, 3, 3. So if we bump this down, he's at 2.5 on props.cash by default. If we bump this down to 1.5, then his hit streak extends to 7 games. 7 straight where he's gone for 2 or more assists. So it's making a little bit more sense to me now. 7 out of his last 10, including 7 straight games in which he's gone over 1.5 assists. Looking at his previous games against Golden State, he's only played them once this year. Just a 1 assist performance against them back in November. So did not get the job done in that game. And then we go down here and look at the matchup. Golden State's defense. They are the 3rd ranked when it comes to assists allowed, meaning they're stingy, they're greedy, they're not giving up a lot of assists to opposing teams. They're sitting at right around 23 assists allowed. So, kind of a difficult matchup. But at a 1.5, I mean, Gallinari's just crushing it. He's just crushing it. He's been starting at like the power forward spot for the Atlanta Hawks with John Collins being out. So let's take a look at Gallinari here going up against Golden State. The Warriors, as far as assists allowed, they're giving up about 2.9. Let's call it 3. Like 3 per game to power forwards. We're also going to look at the small forward spot because you got him and DeAndre Hunter that are typically starting at the forward spots for the Atlanta Hawks. So small forwards, Golden State Warriors, they're giving up, it looks like about 3.6 assists. So they're giving up about 3 to 4 assists per game to small forwards and power forwards. So he needs just 2. So there's a decent chance that he ends up getting the 2 assists that he needs tonight. As far as the projection goes, I have him projected for 1.8. 1.8, more than 1.5. But at 1.5, the public thinks that he's only going to get 1 assist tonight. They don't think he's going to find 2 dimes. Again, the betting public, they've been wrong before. Just because they're putting their money on the under doesn't mean you have to. But I do like to reference them just to get an idea of how they're betting a prop like this. And in this case, it looks like they're slapping the under here. So there's Gallinari's assist for you in a little nutshell. What other assist props are you guys looking at today? Jackie Ramos is mentioning Jalen Brunson's assists. I see some Jalen Brunson love. Speaking of love, Chill Robots showing some love, saying, just wanted to say that I'm enjoying the stream, CJ. Keep up the great content. Back at you, Chill Robots. Thank you so much for enjoying the stream. I've seen some Jordan Poole for PRA mention. I've seen Jordan Poole for the points. I've seen Jordan Poole mentioned for assists as well. So some of you guys may not feel that Jordan Poole's points are achievable. Maybe you'd rather go PRA. Maybe you'd rather go assists. We could look at the assists if you want for Jordan Poole. Let's go ahead and take a look at it while we're here, right? While we're here, why not? Why not? Jordan Poole's at 4.5 assists. Let's go ahead and go to the season view. Poole, Steph Curry out. And without Steph Curry in the lineup, he has gone 5 for 8 this season. 63% hit rate, not the worst hit rates in the world. Now, over the last 5 games in which Steph has been out, Poole has gone 4 for 5, an 80% hit rate. So he's showing better form, especially in the month of March here, where he's 3 for 4, averaging 6 assists in the last 5 games that Curry has missed. Now, the last time he played Atlanta, he did not have a single assist, but I do believe that Mr. Curry was available for that game. So that's going to definitely skew things a little bit. Now, this Atlanta Hawks defense, they rank 24th in assists allowed. That means they're giving up quite a few dimes, over 25 assists given up per game. So if you don't like Jordan Poole for his points, maybe you like him for his assists. Let's go take a look at the matchup. The Hawks, when it comes to assists allowed to point guards over the last 15 games, they're giving up about 8 per game at 7.92. Let's call it 8. He needs 5. So that looks pretty good. Let's look at the last 7 games as well and see if Atlanta shoots up the board or down the board. They shot up the board a little bit at 8.36, but not a significant change from the last 15 games to the last 7 games. So overall here, pretty decent shot. With him at needing 5 assists, they're giving up about 8 or more per game. I think Poole's in a pretty decent spot if you want to take the assists. Getting you a projection, he is projected for 4.7 assists. But once again, the public thinking Jordan Poole's going to go under 4.5 assists. Why are they being such haters? Why is the betting public hating on Jordan Poole so much? They're taking the under on his points. They're taking the under on his assists. Is there anything that they like about Jordan Poole? Let's look at his rebounds. They're thinking that he goes for more than 3.5 boards. Okay. So a little bit of optimism that he goes for more than 3.5 rebounds. What about his PRA? Not really seeing any line movement on the PRA. So they're betting the under on his points. They're betting the under on his assists, but they think he's going to pull in 4 rebounds for whatever reason. Kind of crazy, kind of weird. Osmosis Jones leaving a super chat. I see Trey Prince also left a super chat, but for whatever reason, I did not see a message tied to that super chat. Maybe I missed it or something. He says, I don't know how to do super chat. Okay, well, Trey Prince, I appreciate that. I'm not sure what you wanted to ask or what you wanted to look at, but we'll take OJ, Mr. Osmosis Jones. Your super chat is about rebounds. We'll get to that one in just a minute. Let's take a look at some more assist props. So Jordan Poole's looking a little, I'm not sure. You guys are saying Jordan Poole PRA. So what other assist props are we wanting to take a look at? Cade Cunningham. I'm seeing a lot of Cunningham. A lot of Cade Cunningham assist props. Busy Time 160 says, everyone that's screaming about Poole, y'all are making me nervous. I hear you. When a lot of people are on one particular player or prop or whatever, it does make you feel a little bit like, hey, is this a trap? But yeah, I've seen enough of you guys mention Cade Cunningham that we should probably discuss Cade. He's at 6 assists today going up against Washington. Let's go ahead and look at Mr. Cunningham. He's still vying for Rookie of the Year. Cade Cunningham has been doing a very good job in the month of March when it comes to just like scoring, PRA, all that stuff. So he's at 6 dimes today. So we're going to take this from 6.5 on props.cash, bump him down to 6. And you can see that he's gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight games with at least 6 assists. That's pretty good. So if you take the over at 6, that's probably what I would do because, he's been hitting 6 or more in 7 straight games. I would probably lean toward the over just based on his hit logs here. There's a chance maybe it pushes at 6, but in the last 5 games, he's averaging 8.2 assists in those contests. Now, versus Washington this year, he is 0 for 3 against the Wizards. Back in December, he had 3 assists. Back in February, 4 assists. And against the Wizards on March 1st, 5 assists. So things are starting to get gradually better here for Cade Cunningham when it comes to assists versus the Wizards. But he is over 3, and that's facts. He is over 3. Looking at this Wizards defense, they rank 8th in assists allowed. They're giving up over 23 per game, and they rank 22nd in point guard defense. So let's go take a look at Cade here. The last 15 games, the Washington Wizards are giving up approximately 8.4 assists per game to opposing point guards, which kind of puts them right in the middle of the league. Not an overly easy or overly difficult matchup, kind of an average matchup. We could also look at the last 7 games and see if that changes at all. No, not really. Still giving up a little bit over 8.1. He needs at least 6. So, pretty decent matchup. Not the greatest matchup. Not like Portland, who's given up over 11 dimes per game in the last 15 to point guards, in other words. Okay? Moving it forward here, we're going to get you a projection on Mr. Cade Cunningham and his assists. I do have him projected for 5.7. That's pretty close to 6, but not quite there. At 6.5, he is being bet under big time. Major under here. Minus 160 at 6.5. Minus 140 at 6.5. So that's why he's been bumped down to an even cool 6. So based on his hit rates and everything, I'd probably say lean toward the over, but realize that you might be getting yourself into a situation where this prop is a tie or a push. Okay? Okay. Let's take one more assist prop and then we'll move it forward because I'm seeing a couple of people mentioning LaMelo Ball's assist. He's at 6.5. He's going up against Utah today. We know Utah, kind of a tough team. Jazz are, one of the tougher teams in the league. Let's take a look at LaMelo. He's at 6.5 dimes. And over the last 10 games, you can see he's been averaging 7 per game. Things get even better when you look at the last 5 games where he's averaging 7.8. He's gone for 7, 11, 7, 9, then falls down a little bit to 5. So maybe this is a good spot for us to look at LaMelo Ball in a bounce back situation. Maybe he bounces back against Utah. Speaking of the Utah Jazz, the last time that they played the Jazz was back in December, and LaMelo Ball racked up double-digit assists. He finished with 11 dimes against this Jazz team that was at Utah. Tonight, they will be at Charlotte. Just for those of you who might be wondering how his assists look at home versus away, let's go ahead and see. On the road, 63% of the time he hits the over. At home, 62%. Almost identical. So he's not really a splits guy, so to speak. Now, one other thing that we could do is we could remove Gordon Hayward from the equation and see how that affects his hit rates. They actually go down. Without Gordon Hayward, his assist hit rates dropped down to 53% at home for the season. So, looking a little, dicey. A little dicey. Overall for the season without Gordon Hayward, home and away games included, 60% hit rate. But he's been doing a really good job here over the last 10 games and the last 5 games specifically, like we talked about, 80% hit rate. So let's move it on down here. LaMelo Ball against this Utah defense. They rank 7th in assists allowed, 15th against point guards. Let's go take a look at the Jazz defense and see how many dimes they've been allowing to point guards in the last 15 games. We go all the way down to the bottom. They are giving up the 3rd fewest at 7.3. The 3rd fewest. So he would have to account for nearly every assist that they allow on average. He would have to get pretty much every single assist of these 7.3. Now, we know that there are other point guards on this team, so asking him to get every assist that they've been allowing to the point guard position might be asking a lot. Now, let's look at the last 7 games and find the Utah Jazz. They're giving up about 8.2 assists in the last 7, so giving up slightly more in the last 7 versus the last 15, so things might be a little bit easier for LaMelo Ball. And last but not least, we're going to pull a projection for Ball. I've got him going for 7.7 assists, but at 6.5 out on 3 different sports books. No line movement, meaning no action over, no action under. He's even keel on 3 different sports books that I'm able to reference. So there you go. That is the rundown there for Mr. LaMelo Ball. So now we're going to talk about some rebounds. We'll get things started with Osmosis Jones' pick. Mason Plumlee boards. This guy, by the way, Osmosis Jones, one of our Patreon members, one of our guys in the Discord, he's a big Mason Plumlee fan. He has been taking Mason Plumlee props quite often. And I must say, when he does take them, they seem to hit. So if he's on Mason Plumlee for a prop, then there must be something to it. But first and foremost, let's start things off by looking at the highest hitting rebounders. While I do that, you guys can go ahead and hit the like button for me if you haven't yet. Maybe you're just getting in. You haven't remembered to do that. Maybe you forgot. We're going for at least 100 likes on this live stream. Before I get off of here, I want to see at least triple-digit likes. Make it happen, gang. I can't do it myself. That's where you come in. I'm giving to you. You give back to me by hitting that like button. But yeah, we're going to take a look at these top hitting rebounders. Swig of water for me, though. All right, so starting things off, we got Andrew Wiggins and the aforementioned Mason Plumlee at the top of the list here. 70% hit rates for both of these guys when it comes to rebounds. From there, a whole lot of names hitting at 60%, including Royce O'Neal, Danilo Gallinari, Tobias Harris, Sadiq Bey, Isaiah Stewart, James the Beard Harden, Joel the Process Embiid, Jeremy Grant, all hitting at 60%. And then from there on, it's all 50%. So I typically stay away from the 50% guys, again, unless they're in a really good matchup, or maybe they will have an increased role due to a player on their team being ruled out or something like that. Otherwise, I'm looking for 60, 70% hit rates or better. So Osmosis Jones blessed me with a super chat wanting to know a little bit more about Mason Plumlee's rebounds against the Stifle Tower. Who's the Stifle Tower? This guy, Rudy Gobert, former Defensive Player of the Year, right? He's got a tough matchup, does Mason Plumlee, but Osmosis Jones, I think, is feeling maybe somewhat optimistic about Plumlee's chances tonight. So let's take a look at Mason Plumlee, guys. I know. Some of you have been burned by Mason Plumlee and swore him off many, many moons ago. You said, no more Mason Plumlee for me. I get it. But we're going to talk about him because my man Osmosis Jones felt so strongly about this that he blessed me with a super chat. So now I must give back to him. So over the last 10 games, Mason Plumlee at 7.5 rebounds has covered this prop in 70% of his games. That's 7 of 10 for those of you who do not have your calculator handy. For the season, he is averaging 8.1 rebounds. For the last 10 games, 8.4 rebounds. And in the last 5, 8.2 rebounds. So his averages are all looking good here versus this 7.5 number. Now against the Utah Jazz, they have played the Jazz once this year. That was back in December. Mason Plumlee, 9 rebounds against Rudy Gobert. He was not at all perturbed by the matchup. He got the job done at 7.5 boards against Gobert in their previous game. So things looking pretty decent here for Plumlee. High hit rates in the last 10. High hit rates in the last 5. And he's 1 for 1 against Gobert and the Jazz. I'm assuming Gobert played. Go back and double check. December 20th, Charlotte versus Utah. I'm assuming Gobert played. Might want to look into it a little further. Maybe Gobert didn't play. Maybe it was Hassan Whiteside. I don't know. Anyway, Utah, first in rebounds allowed, 9th in offensive rebounds allowed, and first in defensive rebounds allowed. Now, that is all in red because they are one of the top teams when it comes to limiting other teams on the board. So it's a difficult matchup. But with the total being 228.5, with the spread being just 3.5, maybe there's a chance here for Mason Plumlee to get the job done again against Rudy Gobert. You guys want to see some splits? I know you do. No, that's not me doing splits. I can't do splits. I'm a big old fat boy, okay? You won't see me doing splits, and especially not on YouTube with all you watching, all right? Don't get any crazy ideas. What I'm talking about is his home and road splits, people. Now, he's playing at home tonight, so let's take a look at these splits here for Mason Plumlee. On the road this season, at 7.5 rebounds, a 45% hit rate. At home, a 61% hit rate. Much better rebounder at home than he is on the road. So that's good news, right? Good news if you're looking to take the over on Mason Plumlee. So let's move forward here. We're going to go to the center spot. We're going to go to the rebound category. Let's go find this team, the Utah Jazz. How many boards are they giving up to opposing centers in the last 15 games? We got to go all the way down to the bottom of the list because this Jazz team is stingy, gang. 12.5 boards allowed to centers. Now, granted, he needs just 8. So we're banking on Mason Plumlee finding at least 8 of the 12.5 rebounds that Utah's giving up. But nonetheless, last 15 games, they are the most stingiest team when it comes to rebounds in the center spot. Now, looking at the last 7 games, let's see if they move up the list a little bit. Oh, yeah, they moved up a little bit, just one notch. Second fewest rebounds allowed, giving up 11.5. So less rebounds given up in the last 7 games. Wow. Okay, so kind of a tough matchup on paper. Luckily for us, this game is not played on paper. They go out on the court and compete in real life. Now, I have them projected for 8 boards. At 7.5, we're seeing some strong juice here. Minus 140 at 7.5. Minus 125 at 7.5. So the betting public, they think Mason Plumlee's got a real shot tonight of finding at least 8 boards against Rudy Gobert. So there you go. Mason Plumlee in a nutshell for you. Kind of a tough matchup on paper, but he's gotten it done against Gobert in the past. He's projecting well. And the fact that the public is eating this one up, slapping the over. There's a real shot here. There's a real shot for Mason Plumlee. What do you guys think? Over or under on Mason Plumlee's rebounds? You guys let me know. Who else you guys like it for rebounds? Holler at me. Don't holler at me. Just leave it in the chat. But I'm seeing some Joel Embiid for rebounds. You guys are liking Embiid for the over on his rebounds? Crazy, crazy. Aaron Rodgers is saying the best rebounder in the game is a lock on the under is crazy. Are you talking about Gobert under rebounds? You guys are wanting to go under on Gobert's rebounds? Is that what I'm hearing? Brent is asking about Gobert. No knees rebound. Wow. Osmosis Jones calling Rudy Gobert no knees Gobert. Okay. What's up, Isaac? He says, happy Friday. Work's been crazy, so I'm going to be in the replay gang today. No worries whatsoever, my friend. No worries there. All right. Let's go ahead and you guys are wanting to know about Rudy Gobert's rebounds. He's going up against Mason Plumlee. He's at 14.5, but Gobert over the last handful of games has not been rebounding the basketball very well. He has been bad on the boards. You guys are all saying, take the under on Gobert. Let's see if you've got a point here. The last 10 games for Gobert at 14.5 boards, just a 40% hit rate. Things are looking pretty ugly here. He is averaging 13 rebounds in the last 10 games, just 12 rebounds in his last 5 games. He does have major rebound upside. 20 against Chicago, 16 against the Clippers. But for whatever reason, the last 3 games for Gobert have not been very good. 9 against New York, 4 against Brooklyn, and 11 against Boston. But I must tell you, the last time you played the Charlotte Hornets, 21 rebounds, gang. You guys are really thinking Gobert is a lock under 14.5. You are playing with fire because this man went for 21 rebounds against the Charlotte Hornets the last time these two teams met. We just got done talking about the guy who's going to be battling it out with him, Mason Plumlee. Looking like a decent spot potentially for him to hit the over. Now, I get it. Rudy Gobert has not been good over the last few games. But he will eventually come back to life. And maybe this is the prime spot for him to bounce back against Charlotte, being that he's had 20-plus rebounds against them in one previous matchup this season. Now, we talked about the splits before. We're going to talk about them again here. We're going to look at Rudy Gobert at home. 48% hit rate. Rudy Gobert on the road, 48% hit rate. It is dead even. He does not benefit from playing on the road or at home. There's really no difference. Now, what happens when we take Bogdanovich out? Maybe he's the reason Gobert's hit rates are so low. Kind of weird, right? Why would Bogdanovich being out have any effect or impact on Gobert? I don't know. I just thought we would throw it out there. It's worth mentioning that in 7 games without Bogdanovich this season, he's only covered his rebounds in 3 out of 7. So I don't know. Maybe Bogdanovich throws off the chemistry or something. I have no idea. Now, looking at the Charlotte defense, 29th in total rebounds allowed. That is almost dead last. 29th in offensive and 28th in defensive. So they are one of the worst teams in the league when it comes to rebounds allowed. Looking at the last 15 games, center spot, they are giving up over 16 boards to opposing centers. That is the 7th most. Let's see if they go up or down the list when we look at the 7-game view. They stay right about the same, about 16 and a half boards allowed. So listen, there is some upside here for Rudy Gobert in this matchup against Charlotte. Charlotte is not a great rebounding team. They don't keep other players off the boards is what I'm trying to say. So Gobert, his projection, 14.8 rebounds. That's a little bit more than 14.5, but the public is smashing the under. Minus 120 and minus 130 to go under 14.5 boards. I can't do it. I won't do it. I'd rather fade this pick than to take the under on Rudy Gobert. That's just me, though. You guys tell me what you're going to do with this Rudy Gobert prop. Osmosis Jones calling Rudy Gobert no knees. Believes Rudy Gobert is washed after a few bad games. I just can't do it. I just can't do it. Hella risky. That is one way to say it, RD. I see you. That is one way to say it. Could be hella risky. All right. Let's move forward here. We've talked points, we've talked assists, we've talked rebounds. Let's mix them all together. Let's combine them and look at some PRA props. Like I said, if I missed you, maybe you had a prop you wanted me to take a look at. It's not the end of the world. Don't worry. I'm in Discord for most of the day. You could always tag me if you're like, hey, what do you think about this prop? Or hey, what do you think about this prop? Or you can leave a comment down in the comment section below. But we got to keep the show moving forward here. So we're going to look at some PRA last 10 games. Who's the guys who has been hitting at the highest hit rates? Well, we got 4 of them at 70%. I can tell you that. One of them is the guy we talked about for rebounds, Mason Plumlee. Another one's Clint Capella. Another one is Jordan Poole. Talked about him a little bit. DeAndre Hunter also hitting his PRA at a 70% hit rate. From there, we got a number of guys at 60%. 3 of them, in fact, Jeremy Grant, Kevin Huerter, Dorian Finney-Smith, and then it gets pretty ugly. 50% or less for the rest of the guys on the board today. So which PRA props are you guys thinking about here? PRA, points plus rebounds plus assists. If there's any of these PRAs that you want me to take a look at, I'm here to help. Brent, you don't get to hear my buttery smooth voice in Discord. Actually, you do. You do. I actually do an audio-only afternoon show for Patreon members inside Discord. I open it up to the community. I get back on the microphone, no video, but you do get to hear my buttery smooth voice. And we take different player props from the community. We discuss them live, 5 p.m. Eastern time for Patreon members only on the Discord stage. It's the Patreon only NBA player prop talk is what I call it. So yes, you would get to hear my voice again inside Discord if you were a Patreon member. No pressure. No pressure. Looking at these PRA ones that you guys are mentioning here, I won't get into Plumlee PRA just because we talked about his rebounds already. You know, we'll try to diversify your portfolios a little bit. What other PRA options do we have here? Poole PRA, yeah, I mean, we talked about him a little bit. So, you know, points for Poole. He should have a pretty decent scoring night. The rebounds, the public is betting the over on his rebounds, but they're betting the under on his assists. How about some Jalen Brunson or Jeremy Grant? Those are some names that we have not talked about. Days 522, Jay Rodriguez. Both of you guys are mentioning Jeremy Grant for PRA. So let's talk about him. He's at 26.5. Jeremy Grant's got a 60% hit rate for his PRA over the last 10 games. He's going up against Washington tonight. Grant's been a pretty good guy to take for points recently. He's been doing a pretty good job at scoring. I saw some folks take the over on his points in his last game, which I think was against the Hawks. And he ended up hitting the over on that one. So let's see. Jeremy Grant, 26.5 PRA. Maybe there's something here. Maybe there's something here with this prop. Over the last 10 games, 60% hit rate or 6 of 10. When we look at the last 5, 60% hit rate as well. 3 out of 5. His averages look good. For the last 10, 28.3 PRA. For the last 5, 30.6 PRA. A lot of that's being inflated by this 43 against Cleveland, this 33 against Atlanta. And in previous matchups against the Wizards, he is 2 for 3, or 67% in covering this prop against the Washington Wizards. So not the worst hit rates in the world. Pretty good hit rates against Washington, 2 out of 3. Now we scroll down here, taking a look at this matchup. The Washington Wizards, 18th in points allowed, 19th in rebounds allowed, 8th in assists allowed, and 17th in power forward defense. So not the worst matchups in the world. Pretty decent matchup. We can also take a look at the splits here for Jeremy Grant. Tonight, he is at home. So let's see if he hits higher at home than he does on the road. On the road, 45% hit rate this season. At home, 46%. So he's not really a big splits guy. He performs more or less the same on the road versus home this season. So we'll move it forward. We'll take a look at the last 15 games, go to the power forward position, find the the Washington Wizards. We have it sorted by name here, so that's why they're down at the bottom. They're giving up about 21 points to power forwards, about 11 rebounds, so that's already 32 PRA, and about 4 assists. Let's call it 36 PRA for fun. 36, he needs about 27 to get the job done. So looking like a pretty decent matchup here for Jeremy Grant against the Washington Wizards. As far as projections, he's projected for 27.1 PRA. Now, is this right? His line is at 24.5 out on DK, but he's at 26.5 on PrizePicks. Let's refresh this here. Let's just make sure we've got the latest lines pulled up. Yeah, they've got him at 2 PRA higher on PrizePicks than what we're seeing here out on some of these sports books. Let me refresh on my end. Let's pull Grant back up. No, he's definitely at 24.5 on every sports book. 2 reputable books, DK and BetMGM. So we are paying a premium for Jeremy Grant at 26.5 PRA. What are you guys thinking about that? 2 PRA higher than the books. That makes me want to lean toward the under, actually, on Jeremy Grant at 26.5. That seems rather high. Rather high. Isaac saying Donovan Mitchell's dad is going to be at the game tonight. How do you know that? Do you know Donovan Mitchell personally? All right. Other PRA options. Let's see what else you guys got here. Yeah, Grant's points might be better. Yeah, I don't know why he's 2 PRA higher on PrizePicks versus sports books out there, but you might want to take the under if you think that that's too high. Brunson under PRA, says L.A. Leah. Let's take a look at that. Jalen Brunson under PRA. Could be interesting. We don't talk a whole lot about unders, but he's going up against Minnesota tonight. Obviously, Luka's back. They'll have Dorian Finney-Smith, Reggie Bullock, Dwight Powell. Spencer Dinwiddie will be in the mix. So you're thinking maybe Jalen Brunson is an under option today. This will be kind of an interesting little deep dive on this prop. So he's at 23.5 PRA. At home this season, he has covered this in 57% of his games. On the road, he is covered in 54%. So he's not really a big splits guy. We look at the last 10 games for Brunson at 23.5 PRA, a 50% hit rate. So not the greatest hit rates in the world. Last 5 games, 60% hit rate. And then against Minnesota in some previous matchups, We have to go back and look. If Luka or Porzingis were out for these games, then Brunson would have been in a much better spot in a much bigger role. So you'll have to go back and look. But he has covered in 2 out of 3 games versus Minnesota. He did not cover in his most recent game against the T-Wolves with 18 PRA in that one. So maybe that's why you're wanting to go under on him. Looking at this defense, though, Minnesota 21st in total points, 23rd in rebounds allowed, and 27th in assists allowed. So the matchup looking good for Jalen Brunson here. Brunson, he kind of operates as the point guard, shooting guard, right? Somewhere around there. So let's go look at the Minnesota T-Wolves. They're giving up over 26 points, over 6 rebounds. It's already more than 32 PRA, plus 8 assists. That's like 40 PRA given up to point guards. So if you kind of think Jalen Brunson's more of a point guard, it would be kind of risky to go under based on what we're seeing here. For the last 15 games against shooting guards, Minnesota's given up about 22.5, about 6 boards. So that's like 28, 29 PRA, plus about 5 assists. You're looking at about 34 PRA given up to shooting guards. So either which way, point guard, shooting guard, whatever you want to call Jalen Brunson, the matchup's looking pretty good here against Minnesota. So I don't know about going under. I don't know about it. Brunson's projected PRA is at 25.8. At 23.5, it looks like the public, they're taking the over on Brunson. It's really hard to blame them based on how many points, rebounds, and assists that this Minnesota Timberwolves team's given up to guard spots. But Leroy's saying his big justification is being that Luka Doncic is back. I hear you. I hear you. I hear. Yes, Darian, it is happy hour today at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Happy hour will begin. I'm sorry, Leah. I don't know if you identify as male or female. I can't see your picture. It's really, really small on my screen. I thought maybe you were a girl. Maybe it's Lee, though. I don't know. You're saying it's Lee? There's an A at the end. What do you want me to do? Leah? Lee? Apologies. Like I said, I don't know who you are. Your pics of Jalen Brown, it's literally this big. It's smaller than the size of a pea. I can't see it. My bad, bro. No harm, no foul. 3-point makes. You guys have some 3-point props you want me to look at? Shout them out. Leave them in the chat. I'm here to help. Let's look at the top 3-point makers in the last 10 games. Jordan Poole at 3.5, 90% hit rate. Yikes. That's pretty high. Tyrese Maxey, 80%. Jeremy Grant, Kevin Huerter, Trae Young, all at 70%. Got a lot of different players hitting at 60%, including Finney Smith, O'Neal, Harris, Bridges, Cunningham, Ball, and Luka Doncic. PCT Lee. Bars? Man, you got the rhymes, man. You got the rhymes. Like I said, my bad. L.A. Lee. We could. I've seen people spell their name L-E-A and go by Leah. If you've been watching these streams, you know that I am the worst when it comes to pronunciation. So, no harm. No harm meant. No malicious intent meant. But anyway, 3-point makes. We got to talk about Jordan Poole, right? I'm not even going to look at the chat just yet, but we got to talk about Jordan Poole because the dude's been hitting his 3-point props at a 90% clip. And he's going up against Atlanta. And he's a big betting favorite right now from the looks of it. So let's talk about Jordan Poole real quick. Do we think that he can knock down 4 threes tonight against the Hawks? It seems like the betting public thinks that he can. We look at the last 10 games for Poole here at 3.5. You can see he's averaging 4.8 over the last 10, 4.6 in the last 5. So he's done a very good job over the last 10 games, knocking down at least 4 threes. Now, against Atlanta this season, he's played them just once. He had just 3 3-point makes. But let's see what happens when we take Curry out. Yeah, Curry was active for that game against Atlanta, so that's why that disappeared. For the season in games without Steph Curry, Jordan Poole is 75% in covering this prop, or 6 out of 8. So a 75% hit rate without Steph Curry. So things looking pretty good here for Mr. Poole. And then we talked about the Atlanta defense earlier. They ranked 22nd in total threes allowed, 26th in three-point field goal percentage allowed. So very generous team when it comes to giving up three-point makes and a good three-point field goal percentage. Let's go take a look at the Hawks and their three-point makes allowed to the point guard position over the last 15. They're giving up about 2.6. So they're doing a pretty decent job at defending against the three ball in the last 15 games. Let's see if we look at the last 7, if that number goes up or goes down. 2.5 given up in the last 7 games. So, as far as the total threes they're giving up, not looking great on average to point guards. Moving it forward here, we're going to get you a projection on Mr. Poole. I got Poole projected for 3.5 right on the button. That is where his prop line is at today at 3.5. And at 3.5, like I said, the betting public smashing the over, minus 130. Minus 130. So, there you go. Jordan Poole could be in a pretty decent spot. Moving on from Poole, I see you guys are talking about some Maxey. Let's talk about some Tyrese Maxey going up against the Clippers tonight. Last time Maxey took the floor, he was at 1.5 3-point makes, and he ended up hitting the over against another Los Angeles team. It was the Lakers, but tonight he's going up against the Clippers. So let's see if Tyrese Maxey's in another favorable spot at 1.5 3-point makes. So for his last 10 games, Maxey has covered this prop in 8 out of 10, or 80%. Averaging 2.1 makes in that 10-game span. Over the last 5 games, he is averaging 2.6 3-point makes, and he's gone over in 5 straight games. Now we go back and look at his previous matchup against the Clippers. They played each other back in January. My man had 3 3-point makes in that game, so he did cover in his only matchup against the Clippers this season. So there's a lot to like here about Mr. Tyrese Maxey. Now he's on the road today. Let's look at his splits for 3-point makes this season. At home, he covers at 57%. On the road, 43%. So slightly lower hit rates at on the road than when he's at home. So that's kind of the difference there, letting you see those splits for Tyrese Maxey's 3-point makes. The Clippers defense, 10th in 3-pointers allowed, 10th in 3-point field goal percentage allowed. So on paper, not a really generous team when it comes to 3-point makes and 3-point field goal percentage. Now, looking at the last 15 games, shooting guards against the Los Angeles Clippers, they're getting about 3.2 3-point makes per game. You can see that kind of puts them right in the middle of the pack, kind of an average team at defending the 3-ball. Looking at the last 7 games, Clippers still floating right about in the middle of the pack at 3.3 3-pointers allowed in the last 7. So going forward here, let's get you a projection on these 3-pointers. Maxey's projected for 1.7. So that's more than 1.5. And the betting public is taking the over on Maxey. Minus 125 betting favorite. Lee, what site do I use for research? Well, there's a number of different ones that we're using here. Obviously, this one, in case anybody doesn't know, these beautiful bar graphs are provided by Props.Cash. 25% off your first month of Props.Cash if you use code Curry. There's a link down in the description below. This is a free defense versus position NBA chart provided by Fantasy Pros. If you just go out to Google, type in FanDuel NBA defense versus position, this should come up as one of the top search results. And then this one here is Action Labs, which is a premium tool provided by Fantasy Labs. It's part of the Fantasy Labs monthly subscription package. So those are the tools that we're using. And then on top of that, sometimes we reference StatMuse. StatMuse is completely free, and it can be a very handy tool as well, especially when you're looking at like first half stuff, second half stuff. StatMuse can really come in handy, and fantasy point stuff too. StatMuse really helps out. So there you go. Those are the sites. What other 3-point makes are you guys liking here? We talked about Poole for 3-point makes. We talked about Tyrese Maxey for his 3-point makes. Emerson's baby gap shirt says LaMelo threes. And sorry about that, Lee. Once again, sorry about that, Lee. I love you anyway, too. Apologies. Emerson's baby gap shirt wants to know about LaMelo Ball threes. LaMelo's been hitting his threes at a pretty high clip. They're not giving us LaMelo Ball up on the PrizePicks board today, though. So I won't talk about LaMelo Ball. But if you can play LaMelo Ball's threes on some other site, what I can do to possibly help you out here is just get you a projection. He is projected for 2.8 3-point makes going up against Utah. And right now the public's loving the over on LaMelo Ball at 2.5, minus 140 betting favorite. Here's one we could talk about. Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell is at 4 3-point makes. He's not at 3.5, unfortunately, on PrizePicks. He's at 4. So Donovan Mitchell going up against Charlotte. We talked about Donovan Mitchell's points. Let's talk about his 3-point makes, and then we'll move it forward here. We're running low on time. But yeah, Donovan Mitchell is at 4.5 by default here on props.cash. When we bump him down to 4, you can see in the last 10 games he's hit at least 4 or more in 7 out of 10 games. So technically a 70% hit rate at 4 or better in the last 10. Against Charlotte, they played each other once. He had just 2 3-point makes in that game, so he did not come close to going over the last time he played the Hornets. If you guys want to see the splits for Donovan Mitchell, he's playing on the road tonight. So let's take a look at that. At home, at 4 3-point makes, 32% hit. Away, at 4 3-point makes, a 45% hit rate. So he seems to take and make more threes on the road than he does at home this season, which bodes well if you're planning on taking the over on Donovan Mitchell. We can also remove Bogdanovich, and without Bogdanovich, Mitchell has hit 4 or more 3-pointers in 5 out of 6 games. 5 out of 6 games he's hit 4 or more 3-pointers without Bogdanovich, who is supposed to be out tonight. So that looks pretty good as well. We talked about the Charlotte defense earlier. 29th in total threes allowed, 22nd in 3-point field goal percentage allowed. And then last but not least, we're going to take a look at the Hornets, see how many 3-pointers they're giving up to shooting guards over the last 15 games. We go find Charlotte. Dead last. They're actually the number 1 toughest team over the last 15 games, giving up just 2.4 3-point makes. He took a lot of them the last time he played Charlotte. He just did not make a whole lot of them. I think we said he attempted like 11 3-pointers against Charlotte the last time these two teams met. So he just needs to knock them down at a higher clip. Even in the last 7 games, we see that he's at 2.1 3-point makes. So, again, Charlotte, really tough over the last 7 and last 15 when it comes to 3-point makes allowed to shooting guards. Ask and ye shall receive. LaMelo Ball is now up on the board. We'll get to you in just a minute, LaMelo. Let's finish up with Donovan Mitchell. Let's get a projection on Donovan Mitchell's 3-point makes. There's LaMelo Ball's projection, by the way. We talked about it, 2.8, but his line's at 3. So, yeah, might be a push situation. Anyway, I've got Donovan Mitchell projected for 3.9 3-point makes at 4.5 threes. He is a betting favorite to go under. So if you take the over on Mitchell, just know that it could be one of those spots where it ends up in a push. And then, yeah, LaMelo Ball was just added to the board. Thank you, PrizePicks. Thank you for hearing our call and listening to us. We wanted that LaMelo Ball 3-point prop. When we bump LaMelo up to 3-point makes, you can see he's covered in 42% of his games this season. When he's at home at 3-point makes, 50% hit rate. When he's away at 3-point makes, a 30% hit rate. So he's a much better 3-point maker at home, which is the case tonight. He is playing in Charlotte. So maybe there's a better chance, based on the splits that we just looked at, that he hits the over on his 3-point makes tonight. Now, looking at this Utah Jazz team against point guards, they're giving up 3.5 3-point makes, which is a pretty favorable number of threes allowed in the last 7 games to point guards. And then we've already talked about the projection for LaMelo Ball, 2.8, but he is a big betting favorite at 2.5 3-point makes to go over. Minus 140 betting favorite. So there you go. Those are your top 3-point props. Hopefully I got through enough of those for you guys to help you out. RD saying legit fading that whole Charlotte and Utah game. Okay. All right. As far as free throw makes go, I don't really have a whole lot of information on these, but you kind of know the drill with these free throw makes, right? We're looking for the high usage guys, the guys that are going to be the designated free throw shooters in technical foul and late game intentional foul situations. We're also looking for the guys when they step up to the line that they are reliable free throw shooters, guys who are going to hit their free throw makes at a high percentage, right? So I also want guys who are going to be aggressive, who are going to attack the rim, who are not going to sit out there and camp the 3-point line. You don't get fouled sitting out there at the 3-point line a whole lot. We want the guys that are going to be on the attack, slashers. Those types of players are the ones that we're looking at here. So there's a quick little rundown on the free throw makes. And then finally, blocks and steals, or if you want to call them stocks, you can. Steals and blocks. There's a lot of different quality stock options here, steals and block options here. Let's take a look at those using props.cash. We can kind of take a look at the last 10. If there's any steals and blocks that you guys want me to look into, I'd be happy to do that to kind of close out today's show. But as of now, the top hit rate guys that are actually up on the board, there ain't a whole lot of them. Luka Doncic, 1.5 steals and blocks, 70% hit rate. You got him. You could choose from. Otherwise it's a lot of these guys are not great in terms of hit rates. The highest ones that I'm seeing using props.cash is Andrew Wiggins, 90%, LaMelo Ball, 70%, Luka, we mentioned him, 70%, Jordan Poole, 60%, Mason Plumlee, 60%, and then the rest of the board, 50%. Let me refresh here using props.cash. Maybe we can pull in some more information on these hit trends. Steals and blocks, last 10. There we go. We've got a lot more in there now. Perfect. Let's see. Rudy Gobert, where are you at? We got Rozier at a 70% hit rate for his stocks. Gobert's at just a 40%, so that's not very encouraging. Miles Bridges, he is one who is at 50%. Michael Conley Jr. is also at 70%. So your highlights here would be Terry Rozier, Mike Conley, both at 70%. Those would probably be the best two from this game. Looking at the Atlanta Golden State game, Clint Capella, 50%. Not all that great. We've already mentioned Luka. What about the other Dallas, Minnesota guys? We've got Pat Beverly, 50%. Meh. Not really feeling that. Houston, Portland, Christian Wood. He's at a 50%. Meh. Brandon Williams is not even up on the PrizePicks board. So, Rozier. Yeah, we could definitely look at Rozier for some steals and blocks. He's one of the highest hitting steals and blocks guys on the board. Rozier for the season, 59% hit rate with a 1.5 steals and blocks prop line. You can see what he's done in the last 10, 80%. Very good at getting his hands on the basketball. Over the last 5 games, 80% as well. Averaging 2.2 steals and blocks and 2 steals and blocks over the last 10 and last 5. Now against Utah, the one time that they played, he recorded zero steals and blocks, so that's not very encouraging. When we look at the shooting guard spot, last 15, We'll go find the Utah Jazz and see how many that they're giving up. They're giving up about 1.1 steals and about 0.4 blocks, so not the greatest averages in the world when it comes to stocks and shooting guards. Then we go to the steals and blocks for Rozier. His projection today, 1.9, but at 1.5, the public's not loving it. They're betting the under on Terry Rozier. Sleepy says, give this man a thumbs up. Sleepy, I appreciate you, man. Thank you to the new subscribers as well. Tina's in the building. We got Easy the Great. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel, as always, gang. What other steals and blocks plays are you guys liking? KG the Great 050 says, he hit on a 5-leg parlay yesterday because of you. You are the GOAT. Thank you so much, man. And I'm humbled that you would say that. Congratulations on the huge win, too, by the way. Any other steals and blocks plays that you guys are liking? We looked at Rozier. He's looking just okay. Just okay for Rozier. I don't think I'm seeing any other ones that you guys are mentioning. Beverly, Blunt Rolling Gangsta. Gotta love that name. Gotta respect that name. Beverly blocks and steals. Well, his hit rates don't look great, but we could dive into Pat Beverly just a little bit more here. Point guard, obviously, for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Let's go find the Dallas Mavericks. They're giving up about 1.7 steals and about 0.32 blocks to opposing point guards. So that's about 2+ steals and blocks, which is what Patrick Beverly needs tonight to hit the over. I'll get you a projection on Bev. He is projected for 2.4, which is more than 1.5. And then the public is liking the over on some Pat Beverly. Pat Beverly. Blunt Rolling Gangsta, man. Blunt Rolling Gangsta. That's a great name. It's a great name. You've done well, my friend. Anyways, unless there's anything else that you guys want to talk about, yeah, Luka blocks and steals. We could talk about that one, Darian. No problem, no problem. We can look at that one. We talked about Luka's hit rates at 1.5 blocks and steals. He's sitting at about 50%, so not the greatest over the last 10 against Minnesota. No previous game logs to look at for Luka. So we need to go see how many that the Minnesota T-Wolves are giving up here. To point guards, they're giving up 1.7 steals, about 0.25 blocks. That's about two to point guards. Looking at the shooting guard spot, Minnesota's giving up 1.6 steals and about 0.41 blocks. So that's about 2 stocks there. So it might be kind of a tough ask. Might be kind of a tough ask. Doncic projected for 1.8. And the public is liking the over here. They're betting it up at -130 odds. King says, hit that like button. CJ's the GOAT. CJ's the GOAT. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Thanks, Darian, for the sub. Appreciate you subscribing. What's up with the Hawks? I don't know. What's up with the Hawks? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Mike Conley for what? Assists? Maybe you go Mike Conley assists. Haven't really looked at that one. He's at 5 versus Charlotte. Let's see. Point guards, Charlotte Hornets. Let's see where they are. Their ranking. Yeah, I mean, they're giving up over 9 per game to point guards. He needs 5 or more. 5 or better. So maybe you go there. Maybe you can take a look at Conley. He's projected for 5.6, but his line at 5.5 is being bet under big time. -155, -145. So you might be in a situation where he's in a tie or a, push type of situation. But anyway, I think I'm going to get out of here, man. We're an hour and 40 minutes in. It's about that time. We've covered a lot today. Hopefully today's show brings you some profits, brings you some wins. Once again, I'm giving away over a dozen free 2-pick entries on PrizePicks to win $100. All you have to do is be inside a Discord. There's a link to the Discord down in the description of this video. I'll be giving away about I think 10 to Patreon members, and we'll give away about 2 or 3, probably 3. We'll say 3 to everyone else who's inside Discord. So those of you who are our Patreon members, you got a pretty good chance of winning a free entry to bag $100 over on PrizePicks. And then just for the rest of you that are in Discord, you'll have an opportunity to get your hands on one of 3 2-pick entries to win $100. So that's it, man. Free entry Friday. Let's go get the bag tonight, guys. Got some NBA. We got some CBB up on the board as well. Check out the college basketball board if you guys are into college basketball. But it's a good night for hoops overall. I will be out of here for the weekend, per usual. Not here Saturday or Sunday, but I'll be back at it Monday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. So make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that notifications are always turned on. And leave a like on today's stream. Let's run it up to 100+. And I will catch you bright and early Monday morning. Peace out.